It suddenly struck me that that tiny pea, pretty and blue, was the Earth. I put up my thumb and shut one eye, and my thumb blotted out the planet Earth. I didn't feel like a giant. I felt very, very small. Neil Armstrong.
Hey, you royal layabouts! Wake up and get out of my saloon!
The body of the voice that this demand was coming out of seemed much too small to be so commanding. A being that looked like an adorable baby orangutan stood on the bar holding a bottle shotgun. Carpedia woke up rapidly, yelling, Gory, wake up! We have a conference today! Carpedia was cut short by the two large barrels now in his face.
Listen, buddy, you better pay your tab or you will pay the Saturday night style.
Upon hearing the line that made this the peak spot of both comedy and whistle wetting, Carpedia frantically started slapping Gourmand across the face. Not the best time to be blackout drunk, Gory. We have multiple problems, and the least of which is the monkey with a gun. At that moment, a strange phenomenon occurred. Everything stopped. The shouting, the clicking sound of day-old empty bottles being loaded into a shotgun, the clapping of Gory's cheeks. All was silent. All was still. A hooded figure walked through the room, observing the carnage of mortal races. I thought I'd finally done it, whispered the cloaked figure. He pulled out a stack of cash and placed it in the inanimate monkey's tiny hands. He took one last look around before exiting the room through what looked like a black hole in the doorway. The room's noise rapidly returned. Carp, would you stop hitting me? Screamed Gory. I'm sorry, Gory, but we really need to get back to the monitor to see how they react. This is bigger than us, and I don't want to know what happens if we mess it up. The baby orangutan, realizing he had been paid, set down his shotgun in a rather dejected manner. But nonetheless, he had been paid, and there was no use in shooting paying customers. After gathering their assorted items, which included their pants, Gory and Carp set out in their ship named the Hyperbole. The destination? The Pluto Interplanetary Embassy, where they lived and worked as political leaders for their respective races, when it came to anything that had to do with the Federation, that is. Neither Carpedia nor Gourmand actually knew why each of them had been chosen to represent their entire nations to the federations of their members. But when a giant all-powerful conglomerate of nations and races says jump, you shoot past the moon and land on Pluto. The exact reach and purpose of the Federation is unknown, even to some of the highest officials on Pluto. Some speculate that the true size is kept hidden to create a sense that the Federation is endless and has a hand in everything. Others believe it is so that no one knows how far they have to run to get out, and thus it reduces crime. The most common theory is that the Federation has actually been limited to the Milky Way galaxy, and has failed once already to assimilate to humans, making Earth the one independent planet in the galaxy. Upon arriving in the dock, Carp and Gory set their ship into habitat mode and began fiddling with a small monitor. On the other side of thick static, there was a voice that sounded human, yet too perfect and unfaltering to be organic. like a painting in the uncanny valley spectrum, but with sound. I regret to inform you that on this day, our beloved President Musk and my dear creator has passed away in an accident that can only be described as too sudden to be true. I'm not sure how I will go on leading this country and the human race, considering I am an artificial recreation of what makes you all unique. I hope you all can help me as much as I help you. May God bless America and rest in space, Mr. President. Gourmand banged a wrench against the monitor, seeming to try and get the static to go away. Give it a rest, Gourmand. We're getting audio, isn't that good enough? Whined Carpedia. The pair of ambassadors stepped out of their ship to be greeted by an immediate disarray of reporters, disgruntled citizens, and numerous other curious-looking persons attracted by the currently exposed officials. Ambassador Gourmand, Chief Editor Keplong from the Venus Visionary. What do you plan on doing about the ghastly crisis on Neptune? Ambassador Carpedia, over here. Lunar reporter Bartholomew, with the People's Pluto magazine. What is the council doing to combat the rumors that the humans have made it past the moon? Ambassadors, Shagitas, independent reporter. What is the status of the anti-vegan movement on Mars? The crowd calmed down slightly as two well-built Molnians, whose ancestors must have been great white whales, towered over everyone and led Gory and Carp to the conference chamber. At this meeting, the pair would be tasked with setting off to Lunar 2 and making first contact with the humans. A task no one was prepared for. A task no one believed these two would survive. A task that would change the Milky Way forever. Well, it does look like it might be time for me to recover what is rightfully ours. The voice of this tech gnome rose above the jazz-tastic music in the speakeasy. Lunar 2 is in for a shock when the pack rat crew shows up. This quintet of thieves, smugglers, lovers of spirits, and surprisingly talented singing performers look like something out of a 1950s Earth-style radio show and musical. They all got up, finished their drinks, and then exited Bogart's Homely Hills. This was a heist that everyone was prepared for. This was a heist everyone believed they would survive. This was a heist that the Milky Way would hardly remember.